Well, I'm Rachel Rose. Normally I post songs on YouTube, but this is a little different. It's a spoken word I wrote. I haven't memorized it yet, but it's something I believe needs to get out there. It's this. This is the first one in the series I'm gonna be working on. That I am working on, and the series is all gonna start with the same 4 opening lines, which are, "Oh, happy dagger," cries Juliet, "throughout the ages yet some forget the truth behind such poetic description, when a blade to the skin becomes an addiction." Cutting is something that not only do I know people firsthand who have experience in that act, who, people I care deeply about that have done that still do that. I also have firsthand experience with myself. I have been through that, and it's something that I will admit it's still a battle I fight every day. Especially on bad days or when something's getting to me, it's hard. It's something that you have to fight it, and I'm doing good at that. But it's something that I can write a lot about, and there's more than just this one part that I want to write about. This one is a tribute to my best friend in the world. This is my sister to the fullest. If I were by or les, I would have been taken years ago, and that's a guarantee. I'm not. But I know I've hurt her, and and I haven't meant to, and I know it's hard, and I'm still trying to get her out of the situation she's in, but it's gonna take a while. The first chance I'm gonna get that I can see is gonna be this summer, and that still may not even happen. I don't know yet. But the simple fact of the matter is, this is my tribute to her. Her nickname was LunaRune, and so is named the poem. I won't say her real name for copyright or whatever reasons, but here it goes. "Oh, happy dagger," cries Juliet, "throughout the ages yet some forget the truth behind such poetic description, when a blade to the skin becomes an addiction, when there's nothing left of a girl you never stopped loving because she's hurt beyond repair, when she's as luminous and beautiful inside with all her darkest depths, and oh how deep she truly gets, and out with all her scars, some made by others, some made by any tool she could get her hands on to use. All her curves, her tears, her pain, her love, her heart, her fears. She's not perfect, but it's best that way. Perfect is boring, and imperfection is a form of freedom. I take freedom over perfection any day. She's gorgeous. She shines brighter than the stars in all the skies, as bright as the moon, soft yet radiant, that seems to reflect off her very being, her essence, her soul. LunaRune. A living representation of light, symbolically linked to the moon, Luna herself, effortlessly projecting a brilliance she is blind to because people tell her, as always, that she is ugly, but those people are wrong. LunaRune is so hypnotically stunning, like the saddest of songs. You can't help but burst into tears and cry along, weeping like the willow you so adore, bawling like a newborn babe left out and abandoned in the cold, because over the last few years you've told her time and time again, but it's gotten old, since all the promises you've made are taking so much time, and it's out of line and out of your hands. And you wish she could understand that you just can't drop everything and sacrificing yourself just to save her. So many miles away from her, and all you had and all you were, but that was then and this is now, and now you're stronger than you were then. But in the end, she still can't bring herself to believe that the love you hold for her is real and true, and the things you do and the things you've done. You cannot keep the sun from rising any more than you can keep the moon from shining. And so time goes by and you cry because you cannot convince her that it's not a lie, but you try anyway because you know that one day you'll show her. One day she'll be free, and then she'll see the truth, and she'll know, and she'll believe, and she'll be okay. You'll be okay. But right now nothing is okay because you know in your soul that even though you didn't mean to, even though you didn't know how much you meant to her, and the lines along which she was thinking, until it was too late. Even though it was an accident you'd never even realized was a concern until it already happened, you know in your soul that you've hurt her. You know that no matter how much you love her and always have, you've caused her pain, tied for first place with the worst pain she has ever felt. And you know that try as you might to make things right, they won't be, even once you find your way to her again. And fight the losing battle against time, because it will take time before you can don your superhero cape and take flight to rescue your damsel in distress, but it's already too late. You've already caused even more pain. And even once you get there and see her and hold her again and leave as old friends together again, arms linked hand in hand, looking back at the grains of the sands of time that you've lost, you know it's not the same. It will never be the same. And you think back to the days when you were new to each other, but she shared with you her story, her scars. But then somebody who was jealous of the bond that you shared made up a rumor, and she believed it because she had never known a love that wouldn't betray her like that. But she had never known you. And so she screamed and blamed and accused you, but you just looked at her, mortified that she would believe such lies, and you tried to tell her, but she had turned off her ears. She lashed out at you with her words and her fists and her feet as you told her nothing but the truth, and you took the abuse because you understood why she'd bought all their lies, and you cried because no one deserves to hurt the ways that she did, the ways she still does. And you were forced to leave that place, leave her behind, and you were sad because you didn't know if you'd ever see her again, but you never forgot her and always spoke fondly of her to all your other friends, and never once, not once did you say a word about the fight because you couldn't hold a grudge against a hurt girl acting out her own experiences. You forgave her wholeheartedly for everything and only wished to see her again someday. Then a few months down the road, you were uprooted from the only home you've ever known and put into a place where you're all alone, but you're not. Because all of a sudden, that girl whose jacket you complimented when she walked by a few minutes earlier calls out to you in a voice you recognize, and you run to her, full speed, with arms open wide, and you could swear the heavens opened and the stars aligned, and the whole universe cried as the two of you collided once more, and you sigh, sweet relief, as tears roll down her cheeks, and you're both safe and sound in the shelter you found within each other. You're inseparable, and though the adults try to keep you apart, saying you're not good for each other's health, you just laugh at their ignorance and their stupidity, and you scheme together and you dream together of how perfect it'll be once you're both 18 and can break free, no longer imprisoned by the diagnoses that label you both as freaks, how you'll both leave together and never look back. The boy she loved, or at least thought she loved, who you watched hurt her and mistreat her and use her and lie to her, when that same immature boy made the mistake of threatening her at a St. Valentine's dance, telling you the threat when she was nowhere around to defend herself. And you wouldn't let him get away with it, so you knock him on his ass with one simple punch to his face, walking away, shaking your head at the pitiful display as he just sat there on the ground, holding his cheek, staring up at you in disbelief, letting you get away. Too easy. And when you're escorted out of the dance to your mother, who had been there as a chaperone, she looks at you and asks, and so you tell her. And she just congratulates you and gives you a hug. Good job. When you get called into the office by the dorm supervisor, and she simply gives you a slap on the wrist and a high five, saying he was lucky. He was lucky you got to him first, because the others that wanted to do what you'd done would have kept going. At least you had pity on the fool. When the girl who was the biggest bully to you gave you a hug, told you a nice one, and said she was jealous because you got to him before she could. When you accidentally broke her trust, remembering how hard you fought and tried to make it up to her, and the tears you cried, fully knowing you messed up bad. The plans you both made when the time was on your side and you were both almost of age to spread your wings and fly. When your mother and you agreed what to do, taking LunaRune once she was freed a few months after you, before life threw you before a loop-de-loop, and you and your mom had to flee and get long gone because father was threatening again. So you left, like you promised her you'd never do, promising her something entirely new. LunaRune, I will come back for you. I promise, I'll come back for you. I will. Oh, how you know that you will. But it's taking too long. The saddest ballad left on repeat. It's hard to speak to her for real. Filled with the guilt that you feel for all those lost yesterdays and broken promises made by an experienced fool who should have known better. Who knew better. And your awareness fades and you only see haze as you remember the days long gone, like the one when you sang her a song that you'd written about a trauma you fought and still fight. And she cried, but by some miracle you kept your composure, finished your song, sat down by her side and asked if she's okay. I am now, she replies. You ask what she means, as if in a dream. She looks you in the eyes and might as well have screamed the answer in your face. But she's quiet. I was going to commit suicide tonight, but now I'm not. You feel your heart drop. You lean into her and you cry your eyes dry. She doesn't see why. Hard as a rock turned to stone by all she's known. She can't fathom that she was worth that much. Blind to the fact that your world would stop. Suddenly you're back to reality, the here and now in which you longed for the there and the then. But more, the way it should have been. And although you know you're no longer the reason for her to refrain from that happy dagger, you feel love for her and a righteous rage aimed at seeing her, at saving her. And you know that although she's a modern-day Juliet in the flesh, you will not be her Romeo, but rather her superhero. And you know that this will not end in tragedy, as Shakespeare concluded, but rather in harmony, in joy, in true bliss, because this is your story for her, and you will not let her down again. You will not let her drown in aloneness again. You will give her happily ever after. You will save her. And though you know it won't ever be the same as it was, won't be the way it could have been, it will still be okay. She will be saved. And maybe you do love her too much, but so what? At least you love her. At least someone truly loves LunaRune.